Today's first video for you is firstly Sudan, where on Thursday massive demonstrations are expected. Mass arrest campaign is underway, and Sudan Egypt highway is going to be closed. It's partially closed reportedly, and protesters are preparing to completely close this key road. A second news story is from the Amhara region of Ethiopia, where we know that a crackdown against student leaders is underway. Yesterday, I reported about arrests of some students who organized protests at Gondar University. Last night, police stormed Debre Berhan University. Reportedly, there was clash between students and federal police of Ethiopia in Debre Berhan University premises. A third news story is about Ethiopia-Sudan border fighting. We have a few updates for you. EU's special envoy for the Horn of Africa has held a meeting with Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief, about escalation of tensions on Ethiopia-Sudan border. Fourthly, arrests and bails continue in the Amhara region. A poet has been arrested, a journalist has been released, and lastly, very important news story is about Western Tigray. Both pro Amhara region news sources and pro Tigray news sources, both are claiming that in recent Prosperity Party's meetings, some key decisions have been made about the future status of Western Tigray. Will Western Tigray become part of Tigray? Will there be a referendum there? Earlier, we shared a news story about likely referendum there. Now, more information is being shared. Reportedly, it happened at Prosperity Party meeting that discussions focused on Western Tigray, which I always say is the thorniest issue to resolve Tigray conflict. It's a main hurdle to peaceful resolution of Tigray conflict. So what is being claimed? Which decisions have been made at Prosperity Party meeting held a few days ago? Firstly, we are Sudan, where massive street demonstrations are expected on Thursday. On Thursday, 30th of June, huge protests are expected. Preparations are underway. It was October last year when Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief, tried to stage a coup. And Sudanese PM Abdullah Hamdok was removed. He was put under house arrest. Later, he was reinstated and released, but he resigned. Since then, protests have been underway in Sudan, and protesters are demanding an end to military rule. They say that Sudanese military should have nothing to do with Sudanese politics. And on Thursday, massive demonstrations are expected on the 33rd anniversary of Omar al-Bashir's takeover. Omar al-Bashir, Sudan's former ruler, seized power by force on the 30th of June 1989. Then he was removed in 2019. And Omar al-Bashir is facing trial about human rights abuses, about genocide in Sudan. And on Thursday, on the 33rd anniversary of that event when Omar al-Bashir seized power 33 years ago, Sudanese will march on the streets of Khartoum especially. And before that, government forces have launched a mass arrest campaign. resistance committee leaders are being arrested, their houses are being raided, and several have been arrested. Four top leaders of resistance committees have been arrested so far. Meanwhile, UN's transitional mission in Sudan released a statement. It says there could be violence in Sudan on Thursday. And the UN mission called upon Sudanese government to respect the right to protest, right to express themselves, and right to hold assembly of Sudanese people. But Sudanese government has already started mass arrest campaign to crush tomorrow's protests. Bridges leading to Khartoum, Sudanese capital, will be closed as it happens. In previous demonstrations, we saw that bridges were closed, but protesters, they somehow managed to reach Khartoum. Internet shutdown, a telecom blackout is expected tomorrow, and Sudan Egypt main highway is going to be blocked. Reportedly, protesters have started their preparations to block this road. We have a clip for you showing protesters preparing to block this key road which links Sudan with Egypt. We'll update you tomorrow about these massive demonstrations in Sudan. Watch this video from Sudan-Egypt border. Protesters can be seen making preparations to block this road.
بدأت العربات المصرية تتوافد درس مشى.
Second news story is about Ethiopian government's crackdown on student leaders after Wellaga massacre. University students started demonstrations. We saw protests at several universities of Ethiopia. We saw demonstrations at Gondar University, then Debre Marcos University followed. Addis Ababa University students protested. Police used force, some were arrested, some were wounded as well. Then Woldia, Wollo, Debre, Marcos University students took the streets. Government has started a crackdown on student leaders. Yesterday, I reported that 4 students of Gondar University had been abducted by security officials, and whereabouts of the 4 students are still unknown. The students were behind organizing of demonstrations against Wellaga massacre at Gondar University, and the 4 students are still missing. Last night, government forces stormed Debre Berhan University, where government forces, federal police units tried to arrest Amhara Student Association leaders. There was confrontation between students and security officials. Police used force. Reportedly, police fired as well. At least one student was injured. His name is Beniam. Did police manage to arrest Amhara Student Union leaders? It's not clear. I think due to resistance from students, police retreated. That is what we have learned so far. But this confrontation was at night, so we don't know. Some students might be missing. But police last night, we can confirm, tried to arrest Amhara student leaders at Debre Berhan University. We have a clip as well, not showing you. Graphic clip. Confrontation can be seen, scuffles can be seen between students and security officials at Debre Berhan University. It's very clear, viewers. 2 days ago, joint task force comprising National Intelligence Agency of Ethiopia, National Cybersecurity Agency of Ethiopia, ENDF, and the Federal Police issued a joint statement warning students not to be part of demonstrations. But student bodies are trying to mobilize, trying to collaborate to start a sort of movement against alleged genocide of Amharas. That is why across Amhara region in universities we are seeing these demonstrations, and police has started a crackdown. Student leaders are being arbitrarily detained and abducted, and then no one knows about their whereabouts. And those who are being arrested, still they have not been released. Addis Ababa University students, though a court ordered their release for 1,000 Ethiopian birds, but the students have not been released. Instead, more students are being arrested by government forces. The question only is, will student leaders continue their demonstrations or not? It seems that it will be difficult for student bodies to continue demonstration because security forces are raiding university premises, they are entering hostels and other buildings in universities. So it would be difficult for students to continue protest at universities in Amhara region especially. Next story is about Ethiopia-Sudan border tension. Sudanese media has been sharing unverified claims. Sudanese military is silent. A new development is that EU's special envoy to the Horn of Africa, Annette Weber, has visited Sudan. She met with Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief, and their Ethiopia-Sudan border conflict came under discussion. Abdul Fattah al-Burhan took this position that Sudan wanted balanced normal ties with Ethiopia. Sudan was not interested in escalating tensions in border areas, but he complained that Sudanese soldiers were killed by Ethiopian army after they had been arrested. No confirmation about Bricht, which was claimed by Sudanese media yesterday that Bricht had been retaken by Sudanese army. Bricht close to Amhara, no confirmation. Only confirmation is that Kala Luban in Fashaga, Al Sora, smaller Fashaga, is under the control of Sudanese army. Brecht will wait to see who is in charge, who is in control of Brecht settlement. A relative calm today. We did not hear about any further escalation, but yesterday Sudanese military conducted artillery strikes and there was fighting reportedly in Fashaga, and there were artillery strikes on parts of Gondar as well. Kalabat, border crossing between Sudan and Ethiopia, was closed. But today there is relative calm in border areas. Update you in coming videos. But Sudanese media is sharing very exaggerated, unverified claims. Sudanese military is not sharing anything officially that it has captured some territory, that has captured Ethiopian soldiers. All which is being claimed is by Sudanese media. The claims should be taken with a pinch of salt, unverified claims. Fourthly, your government's campaign of arrests and crackdown on journalists, on dissenting voices in the Amhara region is continuing. Pro-Fano voices are being silenced. A poet has been arrested. His name is Bale Bakale Voya. Reportedly, he is missing, and his family claims that he has been detained by security officials. He could not be contacted. His mobile phone is out of reach. It seems that it's powered off and he has been arrested, most of the sources say. Secondly, a journalist who was in prison for more than a month has been released. His name is Bicalo Alambrio. He worked for Alpha Media Network for more than a month. He has been in prison, but the Federal First Instance Court of Ethiopia ordered his release. His bail was accepted. He's being released on bail for 10,000 Ethiopian birds. He has been released. So journalists are being released, arrested, re-arrested. Yesterday I reported Yasio Shimalis re-arrest. He is from Ethioforum. Damascus Dasalin not released. So new journalists are being arrested, some are being released. This campaign is underway mainly to keep dissenting voices under pressure in the Amhara region of Ethiopia, where still operation against Fano is underway. In the previous video, I reported about arrest of Fano commanders in Bahirdar, where reportedly 4 bombs were planted, and some say by security officials. The bombs went off, and then police started a search operation claiming that the bomb explosions were carried out by terrorists. And in the search operation, then Fano commanders, 4 of them were arrested. Bahirdar, Fano commander, head of Bahirdar, is in detention now. So, campaign of crackdown against Fano, against those voices which support Fano is still continuing, especially in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. Lastly, viewers, both Tigray and Amharic news sources are sharing information, obviously unverified information, about a Prosperity Party meeting held 3 days ago. 2 meetings were held. One was the meeting of Prosperity Party's executive committee, chaired by PM Abiy. Amhara vice chairman, Damak McConnell, other vice chairman were there, and executive committee members. Then a central committee meeting was held, again chaired by PM Abiy. And it is being claimed by both sources, pro-Tigray and pro-Amhara. Both are claiming that Western Tigray, Wolqait, Amhara, Sagede came under extensive discussions. PM Abiy insisted, according to these sources, that TPLF would not step back from its position about Western Tigray. Western Tigray will have to be given back to Tigray government, otherwise a new war could start. That was PM Abiy's position, which was challenged by some Prosperity Party members, from some members from the Amhara region, who opposed PM Abiy's position that there was no solution to the conflict except giving Western Tigray back to TPLF. PM Abiy briefed the participants that international community wants an end to this crisis through diplomatic means, and economic conditions are alarming. Economy is in shambles. Government is in need of funds. Government is in need of loans, grants, and Tigray government is making preparation for another war. If there is no solution about dispute regarding Western Tigray, Tigray will definitely attack Western Tigray and new war could start. International community will stop funding Ethiopian government. In recent days, World Bank has granted some money. 3 grants have been given to Ethiopian government. All this financial support and some grants and loans pledged could be in danger, and continuation of PP's government could be in danger as well. That is why there must be a decision about Western Tigray. Now, pro-Tigray sources claim that PM Abiy clearly said that Western Tigray will have to be given back to Tigray. Pro-Amhara news sources say that PM Abiy suggested there should be referendum in Wolkait. So obviously it's difficult to get verified information because the party has not said anything about what happened in the meeting. But it seems that the main issue which came under discussion at PP's recent meeting was talks with TPLF and Western Tigray, Amhara, Wolqait, Sagede. Tigray-backed sources are very optimistic, very hopeful that soon Wolkait will be back under Tigray control. But official position of Amhara region is very rigid. Amhara regional government president Yelkal Kefale was heard saying just a few days ago that Wolqait was non-negotiable. So both sides are making conflicting claims, but it is being said by pro-Amhara news sources as well that PM Abiy is ready to give Wolkait back to Tigray. So it seems that there is some sort of solution in the mind of Ethiopian PM about the future status of Western Tigray. So either the zone could once again be part of Tigray, or it could remain under the control of Ethiopian National Defense Force with limited presence of other regional forces too. Overall, it's difficult to make conclusions about what's going to happen.